Welcome back to the Crypto World channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is playing out textbook Wyckoff accumulation. So in just a moment, I'll be explaining exactly what that means for Bitcoin. And on top of that, I will be including Ethereum later in this video because we have some very important Ethereum charts that we need to be paying attention to right now. So make sure you're watching all the way to the end of this video so that you're not missing out on any of this important information. And just before we jump into it, you might as well leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. But with all of that out of the way, let's get straight to what this video is about. So right here on the Bitcoin US dollar chart on the 6-hour time frame, and I mentioned in yesterday's Bitcoin update video that we reached into overbought territories on the 6-hour time frame, which basically means we are due for some sort of short-term cool-off, but nothing major. In fact, if you watched that video yesterday, I referred to this dip right here, and that's pretty much exactly what we've seen since yesterday, just a very small short-term cool-off over the course of one day, similar to this previous price action. And technically speaking, this bullish divergence is still playing out right now, but we are running into some points of resistance, and soon enough this bullish divergence will wear off. But that doesn't necessarily mean that this uptrend will fail to continue, because staying on the 6-hour time frame but taking a look at this Bitcoin chart right here, this clearly maps out Wyckoff accumulation playing out right now. For the beginners out there, we're looking at the Wyckoff accumulation schematic number 1, which is this schematic right here. And by the way, Wyckoff was one of the first early pioneers in technical analysis. He was up there with other pioneers of technical analysis such as Dow, Gann, Elliott, and Merrill. And if you're into the traditional financial system such as the stock market, I'm sure you've heard of some of those other names. But anyway, getting into the Wyckoff accumulation schematic in front of us, it is split up into 5 separate phases. First of all, we have phase A, which is basically the move to the downside, and then we have the selling climax, an automatic reaction, and a secondary test. And we saw exactly that play out on the Bitcoin to US dollar chart on the 6-hour time frame. And then looking in phase B, we basically see a slightly higher high compared to the previous automatic reaction, and we see another secondary test, usually lower than the first secondary test, but for the most part, phase B is a lot of sideways price action. And once again, that's exactly what we saw during phase B over on the Bitcoin to US dollar chart. And then phase C comprises of a spring, which is basically a lower low on the chart, and then some sort of retest of these previous secondary test support lines. And once again, that's exactly what we've seen over on the Bitcoin chart right here. And then phase D is basically a move out of that spring phase up towards the top of this entire price range, where we're sitting at the same sort of values that we saw back at these automatic reactions in phase A and phase B. And once again, that is exactly what we are seeing right now. We are sitting right in between the first automatic reaction and the second automatic reaction. And then finally, we have phase E, which is basically the full reversal back to the upside, resulting in a lot more gains coming soon to the Bitcoin price. But that only comes after we break above these previous lines of resistance at those same automatic reaction levels that we saw in phase A and phase B. And ideally, we need to flip those levels into support. So at the moment, that is still what needs to be done to complete this Wyckoff accumulation. We basically need to break above this line right here, which was that previous high that we saw back in phase B. And ideally, if we can flip that into support, then that is how we know that we are really beginning this recovery back to the upside and beginning phase E. And by the way, this line that Bitcoin needs to break above is coming in at just underneath 52,000 US dollars. So once Bitcoin sees a confirmed break above 52K, then it will be extremely likely we're about to see more gains coming soon to the Bitcoin price. But until then, it is just a waiting game while we're still sitting below that level. But something very interesting about this line right here, which was the first automatic reaction that we saw in phase A, technically because the Bitcoin price is above that line right now, this should be acting as support for the Bitcoin price, and that is coming in at around 49.7K approximately. And the reason why that's interesting is because if we look in the Bitcoin order books across all of these exchanges, right now we are seeing a huge buy wall coming in at around 49.6K. So if you're looking at possible support levels to the downside, that is one that I would be looking at around 49.6 to 49.7K. And just a really quick update on the Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index. We are continuing to move towards the neutral range on this index, but technically right now it does say that we are still sitting in fear for the time being. But the fact that this Bitcoin Fear and Greed Index is clearly trending away from extreme fear and trending towards these neutral areas, that means the Bitcoin price is potentially beginning to leave one of these green zones. And looking at the last couple times that Bitcoin has done that, well, you don't need me to tell you what Bitcoin is most likely about to do next. And by the way, for any new viewers on the channel that have no idea what this chart is just here, definitely check out my last Bitcoin update video that I posted yesterday on the channel. Now, taking a quick look at the Ethereum to US dollar chart on the 6-hour time frame. As I've been mentioning over the past few days, Ethereum is still continuing with this breakout to the upside out of this bullish falling wedge pattern. So nothing is new there, but don't forget bringing out the Fibonacci retracement tool from the all-time high high down to this low just here, Ethereum is still finding some short-term resistance along the 38.2% Fibonacci level, which is the second most important Fibonacci level, and that is coming in at around 4120 to 4130. But the most important Fibonacci level is the golden pocket, and right now that is sitting at around 4.4k approximately. So those are the next potential point of resistance that I am paying attention to moving forward for Ethereum. Also, as I mentioned yesterday, Ethereum has still broken above this symmetrical triangle pattern, but technically speaking, we are now forming this rising wedge pattern, which, by the way, a rising wedge pattern is technically a bearish pattern. But considering the fact that Ethereum has already broken to the bullish side out of this symmetrical triangle pattern, these two patterns basically contradict each other and almost cancel each other out. But with that being said, even though the rising wedge pattern is technically a bearish pattern, right now we have not confirmed a break below support just yet, at least, because this line of support is coming in at just above 4,000 US dollars, and the line of resistance in the rising wedge pattern is coming in at around 4.2k. So if Ethereum sees a break above 4.2k, then in that case, it would be very likely we'll continue with this breakout to the upside out of that symmetrical triangle pattern. And by the way, the technical price target for that pattern is coming in at around 4.5k approximately. But if this rising wedge pattern breaks this exact line of support, then in that case, the technical price target for this pattern is the bottom of the wedge, sitting at around 3.8k. Now zooming out to the daily time frame for Ethereum, and something to keep in mind is the fact that right now the current bull market is still on track with the previous bull market that we saw back in 2017. So that is exactly what this chart shows. The candlesticks is the current price action, and the green bars, these green candlesticks, is simply a copy of the 2017 Ethereum price action on the same daily time frame, but overlaid on top of the current price action that we've seen this year. And you'll notice that both of these bull markets have been following each other extremely closely up until around the beginning of October, which is where the current bull market finally started diverging away from the 2017 bull market. But what's interesting is, even though that was the case, we still saw these two peaks right here come in confluence, and recently, over the past 1 week approximately, we have seen the price of Ethereum begin to gain to the upside, similar to what we saw back in the last bull market at this stage. Now, obviously, this is just a bit of speculation, because if something played out in the past, it doesn't guarantee anything's going to happen in the future. But with that being said, if the previous bull market is any indication to what might happen next for Ethereum, we could be expecting a little bit more bullish price action coming into play over the next few weeks and months. And what is great is the fact that that also aligns with these other bullish patterns that we're seeing for Ethereum right now that are suggesting more Ethereum gains are still to come. But with that being said, looking at something a little bit more bearish, this is not Ethereum against the US dollar, this is Ethereum versus Bitcoin on the 6-hour time frame. And you can see that right now Ethereum has basically completed a head and shoulders pattern, but we have not seen a confirmed break below the neckline, at least just yet. This neckline that Ethereum needs to break below in order to confirm this pattern is coming in at around 0.079 Bitcoin per Ethereum. For as long as Ethereum is remaining above that line right there, then technically this head and shoulders pattern, even though it has basically completed, it doesn't actually confirm. But if Ethereum sees a break below this exact line right here, then that would clearly be a bearish signal for Ethereum versus Bitcoin, which is not necessarily a bearish thing for Ethereum against the US dollar. In that case, that just means Ethereum would be underperforming against Bitcoin. And so when Ethereum is losing value against Bitcoin, that could also mean that Bitcoin is just seeing bigger gains than Ethereum. But as of right now, this is definitely just something to pay attention to. If you got any value out of this video, please make sure to leave a like down below. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe with notifications turned on for more updates just like this every single day. I've included Bitcoin and Ethereum together in this video rather than doing it as two separate videos today, so that you could just watch it all in one go and enjoy the holiday season, because I know that I have personally had an amazing Christmas with hitting 100,000 subscribers, and I hope all of you have had an amazing Christmas as well. And in case you missed it, make sure you check out my 100,000 subscribers special, which is popping up right here. It's just a 1 minute long video basically saying a big thanks to every single one of you for 100,000 subscribers. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.